so excited to have her on. I've been waiting for this, as she has, to kick this off. So I'm going to turn it over to her so she can introduce her wonderful self to all of you. So Jaclyn, thank you so much for being here. And would you just tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yep. So, Tessa, thank you so much for having me. And the pre-show, was so excited for this conversation too. So again, I'm Jaclyn Strominger. I am a high performance strategist. My company is Leap to Your Success. And my biggest goal for everybody is to know that no matter what you're doing in your life, you can be truly unstoppable. And my goal is to help everybody really capture their vision, their mission, and take 2 steps to getting to their biggest yes in life. And my background started in magazine publishing, and I went from magazine publishing into sales, to direct sales, to super success, to finding my love and passion for coaching people and helping people really just my biggest and greatest thing that fills my cup is when I look at my clients and I see their success and they become unstoppable. Yeah. It's just like, oh God, I want to do it for everybody. Right?
I love that. I love it. See, this, guys, you're listening right here. These are the coaches you need in your life. Okay, these are the ones. There's so many different avenues, programs, things you could do out there. So I just have to stop right there because people ask me all the time, well, what's right for me? What do I need to do? Whether it's friends or in conversation or clients. And I'm like, regardless of what it is that you're looking to achieve, you need to find the person, and this is for myself included, who's looking to guide you to your abundance, to what's your wisdom, your gift, your voice, to what's innately inside of you. They're not gifting that to you. They're guiding you to it. So everything that you just said about what you love to see just made my heart so happy, because it is. Guys, that's what you want. And we all need it. I just posted something out there that I had to pull out because I know for me, for a long time, I was struggling with the idea that I needed somebody, right? I'm a high performer, I'm gritty, have the trauma to back it up where I'm like, I can do it all on my own. I can move, right? And that gets us very far when we deal from that singular place, which we're going to get into. But studies have shown 80% more effective. 80%. How much more proof do you need? If you have a coach there guiding you, whether it's a nutritional program, a business program, a life coach, whether it's writing your memoirs, whatever, an artist or whatever it is, you need somebody there. Not only is a deeper connection, but they have blazed that trail. They're not supposed to be intimidating, right? They're people that you can help sit with, talk with, connect with.
Right. And so my biggest thing is I love helping people put on their cape, like find their cape and like fly and soar. And I was talking with somebody yesterday, and he has a construction business, and he's like, I need that help to keep going. And I'm like, yeah, because you need to be duplicatable, and we need to help find you and make you so that you can step out. And I love doing that with people, right? Finding people and helping that just elevate their way up. And sometimes you need to, sometimes you don't know what the thing is that's going to push you over that edge. And sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a thing. But when you can have somebody there that's holding you accountable, and again, as you were just saying, like by your side and walking, in step with you, it's so key.
It's powerful. And just hearing you say that, where he went to you and he was like, I'm ready to take it to the next step. And you having this bird's eye view of everything he has going on out of the minutia of it, right? Because that is the priceless perspective that's gifted, that you're like, yeah, I see that. I know what you're doing. I'm following this a lot. I'm tracking. I'm far enough to move with enough experience to let you know this is the secret there that you need to tie in. And voila, look at doors open. Yeah, you're doing it. So we talked on our pre-show, which was so exciting, about this wonderful, I want Jaclyn to share with you guys. We talked about Cars, the movie. Would you just share what that was?
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm like a sucker, for movies and the lessons in movies, and as I was sharing, like there's lessons I think in Legally Blonde. Like if anybody is looking for a job, I will just say this right now. If you're looking to change your career, or if you're looking for something different, watch Legally Blonde, the first one. And what does she do? Is she actually takes her resume and it's on pink paper. She scents it. She senses it, like with scent. I'm not, it's like, not putting money on it, but she makes it stand out. She makes it a little different. And I have to say, do that. Like, do what you can to stand out and and get people to notice you. So that's kind of like one thing. But we were talking about the movie Cars, and my son is he's 17. He loves all things fast, right? So this was such a quintessential point in Cars 3 movie. So Cruz, who is she's a trainer, and she was talking to Lightning McQueen, and she was saying that they had this kind of like fight, and she was sharing that she had watched him growing up and seen him race, and was like, she really looked up to him, and she was like, wow, like, you're the Lightning McQueen. And she said, I had my chance. I was at the starting line, and I'm looking at all the cars around me, and I'm hearing their motors, and she didn't race. She left. She didn't take her chance because she was intimidated. She didn't think she was worthy. She didn't think she could take that, and she didn't have the courage to do it. And she said to Lightning McQueen, she asked, like, how did you know you could do it? Like, how did you know you could race and win? And his comment was, I never thought I couldn't. And I just, and that just was like so impactful. And I want to remind everybody, like, we can tell ourselves anything. And if you tell yourself you can't, you can't. If you tell yourself you can, you can. And if you remember, like in the other Cars movies, like, he would sit there and he would say to himself before every race, I am speed. I am speed.
Right.
He would tell himself that. And he never ever believed he couldn't win. It was never even in his mind. So if there is something in your mind that's telling you that you can't, smash it out, get it out of there, right? Like,
I love that.
as soon as something, as soon as that comes into your mind, tell yourself, I know I can be it. I can be the best at. I can be the number one, whatever you're going for, you can do it. It starts right here and here. Like, these two things, our heart and our head have to line up and know that we are unstoppable. And if you need that person that's sitting, like, if you need two people sitting on the side of your shoulders, telling yourself that you can do it, know that you can. And whatever that gremlin is, find your gremlin, make a picture of it, put it someplace so when you see it, you can name it and say, hey, guess what? Monkey do. You're not coming out today. Right?
I love that. So you said so much. That right there, guys, that McQueen and Lightning McQueen and Cruz and that whole is so, and they do this in kids' movies. They do. It's like profound kernels of just this deep wisdom. Because I want to tie it back to the idea, the limiting self-belief that we design our life. We operate from a place within our life. We create in our life from the subconscious, not the conscious, right? So that conscious idea that I'm going to do this, I can do this, blah, blah, has the best intention. So we're doing all the things. So it sounds to me like, just like Cruz, she's at the starting line. She's ready to go. The engines are there. She has the capability. She's profoundly capable. All of this is there. But subconsciously, deep down, she believes that she can't. So I really feel like, to get to all of the beautiful steps and success that you teach, you're pretty much fundamentally saying that at a subconscious level, we need to start believing in ourselves.
Yeah.
And that we have to, and that we are fully capable. And then you took it a step further too and say, name the little gremlin, right?
Yeah.
Name that part of yourself, right? That part of the subconscious. And we can understand fundamentally, there's the science. It's called neuroplasticity, right? We can rewire our brains. We can reteach ourselves. So I don't want you to say, this is the way I am. It's the way that I'm raised. Phooey, that's an excuse. Okay, I'm trying to tell you right here, right now, and Jaclyn is too, you are fully capable of doing this. But what we need to start to draw awareness to is the parts of you in the subconscious that are holding you back.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. And sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper. And
Yeah.
and I think, and I think the other part that I think is really important for everybody to know is that sometimes you might be here and you may be at a point where you can tell yourself, I know I can do it, and you're in that part of rewiring yourself. And sometimes you might slip back, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You just have to, whether it's reach back out and say, okay, I need to get back in thinking this way.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we will revert back, and it's okay.
Right.
You know that you can take that next step up, or you can take the leap. Life is not linear. We're not always going up, up, up.
Mm-hmm.
There's ups and downs, and highs, lows. Think about the waves. There's so many different metaphors, roller coasters.
Right.
And so sometimes you might get here, and you might come back down a little bit, and then you'll go back up again, but you might go back up higher.
Right.
Right. So we're kind of doing this. It's not always a straight line. I mean, you can look at the stock market, right?
Right, exactly. So many things in life, and the way, and what I'm hearing from you is such a beautiful mindset too, is that it's the peaks and the valleys, but in the valley, so much, if we start to look at that as an opportunity for growth and development, we're like, okay, or here was I stepped back twice. I moved forward 5 steps. I took 2 back steps. I backslid, whatever you want to say. I fumbled. I got into the bad habits again. Fair enough, but you're different this time. Each time it gives you an opportunity. So if you look at it as having an opportunity to be like, oh, but I'm going to keep practicing at it. I'm going to keep working at it. I'm going to keep pushing forward. You expand a little bit more to the point where I think you're definitely saying too, it happens less and less.
Yeah.
And then you're expanding as you're going, because you and I said before we got in the call, I wish y'all had heard that conversation. We'll just share it off because it was so good. We don't stop at any point. You said beautifully, and you will have to repeat it, we don't stop dreaming. And I say that to people all the time, guys, this is a whole book we're writing. This is our story. This is our greatest masterpiece. This is our painting. This is our Mona Lisa, right? This is what we're designing of our lives. It doesn't stop at 30, doesn't stop at 40, it doesn't stop at 60, doesn't stop at 80. Let's keep going, right? That we're evolving and expanding into self, right?
Yeah, we're always changing and evolving and becoming something better and greater.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter. I always like to think sometimes if I'm ever getting into that point where I'm thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to be 57. So I think, oh, I want to do this and I want to keep going, or,
right.
I've got things that I still want to do. I can still do all of those things. And I remind myself, hey, you know what? Warren Buffett didn't make his first billion, I think, until he was 65. So, hey, I got some time.
Warren could do it. I could do it. Yeah. I love those. When people post those, I'll tell you, the people out there post those with the ages of times, like Walt Disney, I think was one. Steve Jobs, I think Bill Gates. There's all of these, the J.K. Rowling's.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different people at all these different ages, and it's one of my favorite things because I'm like, that's going to be that chapter in my next chapter. And I was like, I'm just getting started, right? I'm 41, and I'm like, I joke with my kids all the time. I'm like, I'm finally an adult, guys. I hit 40. They were like, what were you before? I was like, just playing at it, trying to figure it all out. I was like, now I feel really solid. I was like, I can't wait to see what the next 40 years have to offer, because man, is this getting good.
It is. It's interesting. So I have a podcast called Unstoppable Leadership, and I just interviewed this gentleman on. He was really he's phenomenal, and he wrote this book. I just have to shake because I'm laughing at it. Kept having to do the math in my head because I'm looking through the book and there's pictures of him and it says at his 70th birthday he did this or whatever, and I'm looking and thinking, wait, how old is he?
Right.
How old is he? He's 89. Guys, he's 89. Okay. He doesn't look it. Okay. And he's just written 2 books,
I love
and
that.
he's so much greatness is still coming. And
Yeah.
so, and he's, and it was just so powerful because I kept thinking there's so much that we can accomplish and do and achieve. And our life it is a journey, and we have
Mm-hmm.
so much, and we just always have to keep believing in ourselves, and we are always unstoppable, and we should never stop dreaming. And what
Absolutely.
I share with a lot of my clients, like 2 steps, like 2 steps that you can take today, like, and what are those 2 steps towards your belief of what you want to do, one
Right.
personal, maybe one business, like what are those things that you're
I love
going to
that.
do? Because if we can focus on that, and then we can see where we go,
Mm-hmm.
and we can look back on the week, we can look back on the month and say, wow, I am moving forward. I
Right.
am celebrating. I can look at those things, and I know that I am unstoppable in
I love
everything I
that.
do.
So beautiful and manageable. I think it's so often, and I reflect back at even times in my life where I was like, okay, this is what my life's gonna be. And I like signed off on the contract that somewhere said that this is how it's gonna look for the rest of my life. And then I was like, weird, just like when I was in college, and I'll never forget my freshman year, my guidance counselor was like, Tessa, you have to declare a major. I was like, how am I supposed to know what I'm going to do out there? I haven't been out there. I was like, what is out there like? And you want me to tell you what I'm going to do forever? Because at that point, you feel like it's forever. And some jobs, I've had interviews on the podcast where we talked about the 2.0 and the different chapters. And I guess what we're here to tell you guys today is that it's
Right.
chapters. We're going to debunk that.
Right.
You're not signing a contract for forever. And if you have some just beautiful fire inside of you that is this dream, stop shelving it. Stop shelving it. Jaclyn just said 2 steps, just two. We can all do 2 things, right? We put on our shoes, we walk out the door, we add some new collagen to our coffee. That's an extra step, or whatever. I see some secret cream that
Bulletproof.
I'm
I love it.
yeah, exactly. Like we're gonna add something. If we can go buy that thing, add that thing. If we can do a new nighttime routine, we can surely add in a step from that's been sitting on that dream on the shelf. Doesn't have to be crazy large. It just has to be enough that it's moving the needle just a little
Just
bit.
a bit. Right.
Yeah.
Because, I always like to say 2 steps, like 2 things that you can do creates momentum. One step,
Hmm.
you're kind of like on a, you're standing there and you could follow over, but 2 keeps
Right.
you grounded, right? One step, you kind of keep having to like spin around. 2 is that making that momentum happen.
Yeah.
And so if those are 2 things that you can take and do 2 things,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's not even, maybe it's 2 things a week. Everybody's got a different, as I love to say, aim, right? So
Mm-hmm.
my 2 things I could do, one thing for personal, one thing in for business each day. You might be a week. That's
Right.
okay. Everybody's got different levels, but what are the 2 things?
I love that. And don't second guess yourself. Your
Yeah,
dream's yours.
yeah,
What you have, that calling inside of you that keeps coming up, that keeps, I don't know, it's that little thing that when you're daydreaming and you think about, or my kids asked me in the car yesterday, Mom, what did you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, at what stage? I was like, early stages, a queen, obviously, of
right,
England. I
right.
followed her all the time. I was like, I didn't even live there. I was like, and then we went on to marine biologists, but the sharks, and then there was other stuff. But I was like, we didn't stop, and nothing was off limits. You were talking about, other people's dreams, and you're like, it's not no hold bar. I tell my kids all the time, dream bigger, go
Right.
bigger, just
Go
keep dreaming.
go big. Go
Yes.
big. Dream really big.
And it's
Big,
not silly.
audacious dreams.
And I've had people tell me, they're like, oh, it's just silly. And I'm like, silly is, if anybody has followed, you should go look up. I think it was, she has a nutritional brand called Bloom that's now in Targets, and I was looking at her story because I find, ambitious people so inspiring, and I love, and I know a lot of people sometimes will read that and get discouraged and feel like they're behind. No, you're not. You just got to do the two things and start, because that's what that person did, and you can do it. And it's not silly. There's nothing silly. The reason you have that calling, it's there for a reason. It's a part of what you're meant to give out into the world, and man, do we want it. So please don't sleep on it. Don't shelf it anymore. Just do the two things. And what would you say to people that after they've started the two things and they're starting to like really develop a little bit more, what else could they do?
Once you start, I always say keep going with those two things. Keep planning the two things you want to do. I also remind everybody to track what you're doing.
I like that.
Right? Tracking is so important. We actually talked today about, really looking at what our personal goals are and our business goals are, and writing those down. And I always say, like, look at those, write them down, put them someplace where you can see them. So maybe it's even something that you read to yourself every single day. Like, add that into your routine. So your two personal goals, your two business goals, and really own them, write them down, look at them, and then come back every quarter, like every 3 months, revisit them, because things change, right? And sometimes we write them down and then we don't look at them and then we forget. So if we kind of remind ourselves, like set it in your calendar. Okay, so we just had April 1st. Okay, so, 3 months from now, okay, April, May, June. So July 1, all right? Look at them again. See where you are. Did you forget about them? Do you need a reset? And it's okay if you need a reset. But just don't forget about them.
Right. I don't want it to, it's the thing, I feel like we're coming to a time where you have to, I love the question, or it's been posed, or the interviews that you hear of those who are getting ready to close out their life. That's the way I'll put it. They're getting ready to end this beautiful story. They've so much life has been lived. They've done the things. And they'll ask them, is there any regrets? And so I'd say to you now, if you're struggling, you're like, okay, you're listening to this and it's very interesting and you love everything that Jaclyn and I are saying, but you're like, I don't know. I would like you to ask yourself right here, right now, if we fast forward and it's so many years later and it's at the end of this beautiful journey and we're like, do you have any regrets? Is it the thing that you just kept putting off, that you shelved? Is it the one thing that you didn't try? Because I'll tell you what, failure is a key ingredient to success. Ask any of the people who have succeeded in life. It has to be there because that shows that you're trying, right? There's some forward momentum and you're only getting better. And I love that you said write things down. And I like that for a secondary reason too, is because I know for me, I'm impatient. I can call out the things that I'm working on. It's one of my little qualities. I do that. And I'm like, okay, I know I have to be patient and build and work on this and keep chipping away. And for me, what I found to be the most powerful in that when I started to get discouraged is I'd go back and reflect on the little things, the goals, and I'm like, well, but wait, look what I've created up until this point. Whoa, good on you. And it felt so good, like such an achievement, because when you're scaling the mountain, how often do you look back? You're like, oh my gosh, there's so much further I have to go. This is impossible. But when you look behind you, look how far you've come. Right. Amazing.
What I love about that too, Tessa, is that like when I think about hiking and you're climbing a mountain and each level that you go, like you're at one point you're like among the trees and it's beautiful, and then you get out and you can start to see, and each level is a different level of beauty and it's part of the journey. And then when you get to the top, I mean it's fantastic, right?
Yes.
But we are reflecting and we're looking at the whole journey of that climb up a mountain when you're hiking. And so, when you get to that top, if you're thinking about that as we're on our journey, somebody had said this to me once, and I thought it was really beautiful, is if you were to spend the minute and write down what you wanted someone to say at your eulogy, like write your eulogy. Like, what do you want your life to have?
Wow.
like looked like, and how do you want it to be reflected?
It's
And if
powerful.
you spend the time to sit down and write it out, live that and be
I
that.
love
And
that.
most of the times it's not the material things that make our life, it's not the car or whatever it is, that you
Hmm.
have, but it's the experiences that you have. And and I and I will share that, when I used to this was a huge lesson. And so I used to work my butt off without taking vacations. And I missed an opportunity to go to Africa with my parents.
Wow.
Okay. Now, and partly there was a fear. And I never ever let this ever get to me ever again, because I was like, it was like a lesson that I learned, and I'm like, never ever again. I was
Right.
afraid to ask for the time off, and this was also one of the reasons why, like, I believe in people finding their spark so that they can
Hmm.
find their voice too, because I was
Mm.
afraid at that point to speak up and travel, do things,
Hmm.
experiences. So, like, never have anything stop you.
I love
You
that.
know, like,
Yeah.
if you can look back and you can think, like, so now it's like, my parents want to go on a vacation together, I'll figure out how to make it happen.
Right.
My kids, we're taking this crazy trip. My daughter's in college, and she's got this trip. She is doing a 2-week summer program, and so we're basically going
I love
to
that.
spend time with her, right? So it's
So
crazy.
fun.
Yeah,
But do those things.
right.
You
Do
have to
those things,
take
right?
advantage of them. I love what you said. So I just brought up, I read something and it hit me profoundly because it resonated with where I am in my life. And it said, desire is not for things, desire is for fulfillment.
Right.
So at the end of it, at the end of the things, then, even with that and the type of relationships, how would people in your relationships, are you present? Are you a part of their relationships, their friendships, with your partner, with your children? You have the power to dictate how you're going to show up in this world. And granted, a lot of that does take work on yourself. And I'm always, you guys know this, I'm the first one to say, man, is it courageous to do this, because it's hard to do the work. But when you start to do the work, how incredible and empowering life can be. And then I was just thinking about the traveling too and embracing that. And you said something that just really resonated with me on my personal journey. And I think very much so with a lot of women who have succeeded in life. So I'm talking about those high achieving, powerful, right, firing off on all cylinders. They are the head of the household, and a lot of times supporting everybody, the head of the family, gosh, I have friends like this who are just, I'm so in awe of them. And I have been that too in a lot of ways. But what I struggled with, the voice, right? Knowing these are my boundaries, these are my values, this is how I live, this is what I want. So
Yeah.
and there's a couple different ways that we can talk about this, and I want to unfold as much as we can in work, asking for the time off, asking for the raise, asking to take a leave for 2 months, and worried that you're going to be replaced but it's your life calling and you've been doing this and you finally, that fire has been ignited in you. And what do you coach to this, these people?
I tell people our voice is so important, and we
Yeah.
have to hold true to that. And if
Hmm.
somebody, your values, if you're at a place, and this was a huge lesson, and it was
Yeah.
like one of those things, was like early on in my career when I didn't take that trip. But
Right.
if I had had a coach that said
Yeah.
to me, Jaclyn, the company, if they're not going to value your values, then it's
Yeah.
not the right place for you. And I know that might sound harsh, but you have to know your values. And I
Yes.
coach my clients to know their values and know what matters enough to them, and
Mm.
to align and get to know those things and align with people,
Right.
places, companies. And if you're running a company, know the values of the people that are coming in and seeing if they're aligned with your company values,
Right.
which are also better be your own personal values,
Yeah.
because when they're not aligned, they're fighting. And
Hmm.
if it's out of alignment, you're going to have that icky feeling in your stomach. And let me tell you, it was the lesson for me, and this is why I love to coach people on this, because it turned out not only did I not take it, I realized that the company was not the right place for me.
I was
It
just going to
wasn't the
ask.
place to elevate me. And
Right.
so we have to know that. So, when you walk into a door of any
Mhm.
company, or the people that you surround yourself with, the people that help build you up and lift you up, those are your people, and you need
Yeah,
to find them. And it
absolutely.
might take a little bit of digging, and that's okay, but you need to find that. And no place, no company is worth your unhappiness or not aligning with your values. It is not worth it.
I love that.
Your value, because you are worth more than that. And people need to see your worth.
Bravo. And I need you all to go back, do the little rewind, and just listen to that again. You have to undeniably, unapologetically, and with clear seeing eyes know your worth. And I know sometimes that can come from early childhood. Typically it's 0 to 7. Sometimes it can go 0 to 14. And you could have something along the way that has just paved the way for you to question that. But I'm going to tell you this right here, right now. You can continue to compromise, right? You can
Right.
compromise, you can constrict, you can make yourself small, you can try and fit in places you don't belong until it gets so unbearably uncomfortable that there'll be no other option but for there to be a shift. And you
Right.
don't have to wait to get to that point because it's going to really impact you. And I'm not talking about just on your mental, I'm talking about physical health. I'm talking about overall well being. I'm talking about your relationships. And it's something that we really have to start looking at because I think we just accept it at
Yeah.
face value. And I'm curious, after you figured out the company didn't align with your values, what happened next? Did,
So, well, so two things happened. Okay. One is I went out and I found a position at a different company that not only supported me,
mm-hmm.
but I was truly aligned with what the company was doing. And that was a huge shift.
Yeah.
And and when I looked back at the company and the gentleman and the company, there was a few things that were really big ahas too.
Mm-hmm.
It was I never knew what the overarching goal mission of that company that I left was.
Mm-hmm.
The CEO never came out and said, and even met with us and said, "Hey, this is what our mission is. This is what our vision is for the company." And so I went with a company where I knew what it was. And
Right.
so, and then I soared. And then what was really
Yeah.
interesting was that you find people that are really going to lift you up. And
Mm-hmm.
the new company that I went to, I mean, we just did amazing things.
I
It
love
was
that.
phenomenal. But but again, if there's one thing I could always say, don't wait till you have to say uncle,
Right.
where you're hitting the mat, right?
Right,
Like,
exactly. And no more. And you can't take it. And it's just, or it started to impact you so in so many ways that now you can't, the relationship was affected because you were bringing it home or you missing years out of your children's lives.
it's not
It's
worth it.
just, and my point of asking Jaclyn, guys, was to, about what happened next is exactly what I expected would happen because it's every story that I've ever been told is that when you decide to make the shift, when you tap into what your values are, when you decide enough, what starts to happen, right? That you leave that and you forget about that lack mentality and you embrace the fear and you walk hand in hand with it and you take the leap, right? And
Yeah.
you do it and look what shows up in front of you. Because I'm going to tell you if you are spiritual or not, if it's faith based, call it what you will. You can call it anything, but the world is here to conspire for you. It
Yeah.
is not against you. Okay, there's not anybody pulling strings to be like, no, you're going to pay for something later down the road. It's your aligned actions that are in line with those values, with your incredible potential self that can do anything. And when you start to jump in the river and swim with it instead of against it, man, are you going places,
Right.
literally and metaphorically.
Right. And when you feel aligned, you're going to feel empowered, and taking
Yes.
that leap, even if it's those 1, 2 steps
Yeah.
that you're going to take, you will start to create the momentum and the power and empower yourself to
Right.
become your best self. And the people around you, you're going to start attracting the right people. I always say your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Yep.
So if you're attracting those right people and you're now aligned with the right group, the right
Right.
things are going to come to you, and you're just going to soar. And it's really amazing when you see it happen. And I mean, I love helping people get there, but it's so, like, I still remember the day when I walked out the door and I said see you later, because I was
Right.
like, I realized I am meant to for greater
Right.
stuff and greatness. And what was happening? Being held back. And you never, if you feel that way, again, take a deep breath, think of your values, and know that that next step is going to be a door opening. There's always opportunity. Sometimes we
Right.
just have to take those 2 steps to open the door, to find the opportunities. But if we're not aligned and we're not finding our voice, then we're going to be held back, and we're not going to see the things that we need to see.
I love that. All I can think about is, I'm a visual person, and constriction. The more you constrict and constrict to the point where things start to break. And I just, for everybody who's listening on the phone, we all know, because we're at different stages of our lives and in different degrees of constriction or something that we're trying to. I wrote out today, I said, I feel like I'm on the brink, right? Getting ready to dive into the ocean. But I feel like there's a couple tethers that are just like, hold on, we're here. You got to look at us. And maybe it's, metaphorically, or it's subconsciously. And it's interesting to me because it's the awareness aspect. So I want everybody today, think about this. What's the thing that we're talking about, right? Where's the constriction? I know you feel it. Check in with your body. Name the part of the body that's feeling the tension that's being caused by the constriction. And it might not be, you're very relaxed probably right now because you're listening to Jaclyn and I and thinking about all these amazing things. But when you go into a different environment where it's a little bit busier, you're not checked into yourself, you're not stepping into the gap, right? When you are in a place where it's a little bit more chaotic, I want you to tap in at that moment. Take a deep breath. Tap into your body. I know you can name and feel where the constriction is, and then name the thing that you're constricting, the dream, the goal. And I want you to just write out what the 2 steps would be. And that's it. And then just leave it there. And then you can decide tomorrow what you're going to do. And let's take baby steps with it. And if you are sitting there and you're writing it out and you don't know where to go from there, reach out to Jaclyn. Just reach out to her. Give her a call. Send her, we'll have all of her information shared. Let her know where you are. And that's what you need, somebody to walk along with you. I say all the time, because I love it, we are all just walking each other home.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing. And we need to walk together. So you need to reach out. You need somebody, because it's that push, right? It's that person right behind me, my coaches, who I'm going to call later today and this week and be like, kick me, give me a kick. Because I need to get over I'm on the brink. I was like, give me the kick that I need, because I know I can do it, but I'm holding myself back. So just give me the kick and I'm going to totally explode and just be expand mode, right? Let's go.
Yeah.
But we all need it at that time. So what's something else that you would tell those listening? They're sitting here and they're getting revved up and they're excited, or maybe they feel the constriction, and maybe it's really the values assessment that they're getting into. Where do they start with that? How do they start identifying where the constriction is, where they could be negotiating their values, and what to do next to determine their dream?
One of the biggest things that I always tell people do, if you have not sat down, like, spend some time sitting down. And if you need help with this is what I love to do. Really write out what your vision and mission is. And they're 2 separate things. And if you need a values assessment, I've got something that I can share with people too. But really look at what, like, your top 5 values are, and really sit down and know what what that vision and your mission is and where you want to go, and take the time, you know, to really and write it out. Maybe you need to use voice notes and to think about it that way, but it's really important to write out what that is and spend that time, and then see where you are.
Yeah, I love that. And I think we've talked, and the audience is familiar with now because they've heard me talk about it, right, guys? Step into the gap. Do the 10 steps a day. And we've talked about those values and identity crises that we'll have along the way where we thought we were this and we thought we were that, but those core values that are self, you know, uppercase S, self, your core that's ever unchanging, that's always there for you. It's your constant, it's limitless. You know what those core values are. And just like Jaclyn said, we've talked about the exercises too that you go through. These, I love how values came up today because I'm a huge proponent of it, because in a chaotic, overstimulated, wild, wacky world that we live in, those values are grounding, they're comforting, they feel good. They are the parts of your relationships out in the world that you smile when you leave that person, right? I have dear friends. I have a dear friend in Nashville that every time I get off the phone with her, I have the biggest smile. She fills my cup because our values are so aligned in the things that we talk about and inspiring and this and that. My children, you know, this and that, whatever mine are. When somebody offers some beautiful kindness that I see out, that's something, you know what those are to you. Don't overthink them. Right? Just sit down with them, sit in stillness, and stillness is a beautiful gift, and it's something that's challenging to you. Go do a walking meditation. No earbuds, no phone, just go walk. Go move it up. Yeah.
And be in nature. It's amazing what will happen.
Absolutely. And just be for a little bit and do that, you know, as you're listening to this, when you get off the phone, just go unplug and sit with yourself. And that's a great place to start too, because I think, as you mentioned, it's going to be very eye-opening to be able to see where some of the things within your life you feel blocked, and where also I think what's going to be uncovered, there's some misalignment.
Yeah.
And that's why you feel that you're just stuck. And I hate that word because you're never stuck, but it's going to come up, or you're stalled, or you're not reaching your full potential, or you can't find your voice because maybe it's not in alignment with what you truly want.
Right. Yeah.
So good. I love this. And so where can people, if you could just share the programs that you have and the website, which I love, and taking the 2 steps, how can they find you, and what's the best way to go about it?
So the best way is go to my website, Leap to Your Success. It's LEAPTOYOURSUCCESS. So Leap, like all spelled out, leaptoyoursuccess.com. And I have a contact form. Fill it out, just, you know, and say that you met me here, you know, you heard me here on Tessa's show. And it's I do a complimentary call. I have I do a one-on-one coaching, and I have a mastermind group as well. Okay. And, but the best place is to find everything is actually at my website. I'm on all the socials, but just go to my website and then connect with me there.
Beautiful. And do it, guys. I'll tell you, there's nothing more powerful than being involved in groups too. As you mentioned before, your environment is conducive to your success too. It's been going on. People, your grandparents told you that. You know, we all like, let me see your friends. Bring your friends over. I need to see what's going to happen.
Right.
Who are you hanging out with? Yeah, right? And it's so true though. And remember, as we've mentioned, so many different seasons to life. You are exactly where you're meant to be. You're listening to this podcast for a reason. Go do the 2 steps. Reach out to Jaclyn and I. Let us know what they are. I want to hear about them. I want to hear what your values are. Let's stop throwing values all over the world. Like, let's put them out on social media. Tag me in it. I will repost your values, because we need so much more of that realignment. And then I want to see superstars popping up all over the place. As Jaclyn said, It fills her cup. Come on, guys. Let's do this.
Yeah, I know. Let's fill the cups.
Yeah, fill the cups, and let's do it and see you succeed. And I want to hear these ideas. I love it. I think there's not enough of all of this beautiful energy out there. And I would dare somebody to tell me it's been done too much. Nope, it hasn't. Nobody's done it like you. Nobody has. And I promise you, we need to see it. We do. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Jaclyn. For those listening, we'll have all of her wonderful information so you can get in touch with her on our show notes. But I want to tell you how grateful I am to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, wait, thank you so much, Tessa.
Yes, thank you. Bye, guys. We'll talk again soon. Until next time.